When you picture ancient Britain, do you see Roman legions and straight roads? For centuries, our story has started with the Romans, their arrival in 43 AD seen as the dawn of civilization. But what if that's only half the story? The real beginning of Britain lies much further back, in a history richer and more complex than we've been told. We're often taught to see pre-Roman Britain as a land of primitive tribes and woad-painted warriors, a narrative written by the conquerors to justify their conquest. Archaeology, however, tells a different story, one of sophisticated societies, incredible achievements, and vibrant culture deeply connected to the wider world. It's time to listen to these whispers from the past and uncover the truth about the people who lived here for thousands of years before Rome. Our journey will take us through the Iron Age, Bronze Age, and even the Stone Age, revealing evidence of great communities, intricate beliefs, and stunning artistry. These were not isolated peoples. They were farmers, traders, engineers, and artists, building monumental structures and creating objects of breathtaking beauty. They were part of a dynamic European network, exchanging goods and ideas across vast distances. Their legacy is woven into the very fabric of Britain's identity. So, let's step beyond the shadow of the Roman eagle and dig deeper into our own past. We'll discover a Britain defined not by its conquerors, but by the resilience and ingenuity of its earliest inhabitants. By understanding their world, we begin to understand the true foundations of our own. The story of Britain didn't begin with the Romans. It was merely interrupted by them. The real story is waiting to be rediscovered, piece by fascinating piece. The myth of a primitive, disorganized Britain before the Romans is persistent, shaped by Roman accounts like Julius Caesar's, who painted the land as fractured and unsophisticated. This narrative served Roman political purposes, casting them as bringers of order to chaos. For centuries, it was the only written history, shaping our view of our ancestors as mere barbarians. But archaeology tells a different tale. Every dig chips away at this Roman-centric view. Pre-Roman Britain was a place of immense social and technological development, skilled farmers shaping the land, thriving communities, and sustainable ways of life. Long before Roman galleys, Britons built monuments like Stonehenge and Avebury and hundreds of hill forts, evidence of powerful, organized societies. These achievements force us to question why the myth endured, because history is written by the victors. The Romans' compelling narrative overshadowed the silent testimony of the earth. Now, modern archaeology is giving a voice to those who couldn't write their own history. We're piecing together a new story, one based on evidence, not propaganda. Let's travel back to the Neolithic period, to the windswept Orkney Islands, where Skara Brae was uncovered after millennia beneath the sand. This is no simple collection of huts. Skara Brae is a perfectly preserved, 5,000-year-old village, older than Stonehenge and the pyramids. The village's houses, linked by covered passageways, offered protection from the harsh weather and created a close-knit community. Each home was sunk into the earth for insulation, with stone furniture and a central hearth, astonishing domestic organization for its time. The similar size of houses suggests an egalitarian society, but there's evidence of skilled craftspeople too. These people were not just hunter-gatherers. They farmed, kept livestock, and grew crops. Mysterious carved stone balls hint at a rich symbolic world. Skara Brae changes our understanding of the Stone Age. People were building permanent homes, creating beautiful objects, and living in organized communities. They had technology like drainage systems and culture. The existence of Skara Brae proves complex societies thrived in Britain long before Rome. It's a testament to the ingenuity and resilience of our most ancient ancestors. Their world was anything but primitive. Skara Brae stands as a stone-built story of a thriving, sophisticated society. In the Bronze Age, starting around 2500 BC, a new technology, bronze, transformed Britain. The quest for tin, especially from Cornwall, made Britain a key player in a vast European network. Archaeologists have found Baltic amber, Breton daggers, and Mediterranean beads in British graves, showing far-reaching trade. British tin and bronze tools were exported in return, connecting Britain to a globalized economy. This wealth led to social change. A warrior elite emerged, their status displayed in elaborate burials filled with precious goods. The Amesbury archer buried near Stonehenge was a well-traveled, powerful individual. proof of mobility and hierarchy. The landscape was transformed, ceremonial centers like Stonehenge were completed, and thousands of burial mounds and farmsteads appeared. This was a managed agricultural landscape supporting a growing population. The Bronze Age laid the foundations for the tribal societies the Romans would later encounter. Britain was already wealthy, well-connected, and socially complex when the first Roman soldiers arrived. The story of Bronze Age Britain is one of innovation, connection, and transformation. It was never an isolated backwater. By the Iron Age, around 800 BC, British society had evolved into something even more complex. The great hill forts, like Danebury in Hampshire, were not just defensive structures. They were bustling centers of trade, craft, religion, and administration. Danebury's ramparts enclosed a densely packed settlement with planned streets, houses, and zones for storage and craft production. Granaries stored agricultural surplus, showing sophisticated food management. The society was hierarchical, with elite residences at the center and evidence of strong leadership. Ritual shafts and pits with animal and human remains reveal a spiritual world woven into daily life. Religion was ever present, and offerings to the gods were part of community life. Danebury demolishes the myth of a disorganized Britain, revealing a world of complex, structured, and deeply spiritual societies. The Iron Age was a time of power, identity, and innovation. No story of pre-Roman Britain is complete without the Druids, the intellectual and spiritual leaders of Iron Age society. Roman writers describe them as priests, judges, teachers, and astronomers, holding immense power and influence. Druidic training was long and arduous, with all knowledge memorized and passed down orally. No written records remain. Their ceremonies centered on the natural world, held in sacred groves and revered places like Anglesey. When the Romans attacked Anglesey, Druids fiercely resisted, showing their central role in British identity. The Romans saw them as a threat, targeting their sacred groves to break the backbone of British resistance. The suppression of the Druids was cultural warfare, erasing their influence and silencing their legacy. The mystery surrounding the Druids today is a direct result of Roman persecution. Their silence speaks volumes about their importance. The art of Iron Age Britain is stunning in its sophistication, challenging the idea of a barbarian land. Latène art, with its flowing patterns and hidden faces, decorated weapons, shields, and jewelry of the elite. The Battersea Shield, dredged from the Thames, is a masterpiece of bronze and enamel, never meant for battle but for display and status. The Snettisham Great Torque, a massive gold neck ring, required immense skill and wealth to create. Such objects were worn by powerful individuals, symbols of authority and artistry. These masterpieces show a society that valued beauty, symbolism, and display. The swirling patterns likely held deep religious or magical meaning. Hidden faces and animal forms suggest a symbolic language we're only beginning to understand. The art of pre-Roman Britain is a window into a world rich in imagination and style. It was anything but uncivilized. Pre-Roman Britain was not a single unified entity, but a tapestry of tribes, each with its own territory, customs, and identity. These tribes were distinct political entities with their own rulers, capitals, and even coins. Archaeology reveals regional differences in pottery, houses, and burial practices, reflecting strong local identities. Yet shared elements like Latène art and Druidic religion united them culturally. Tribes traded, formed alliances, and sometimes went to war, a dynamic web of relationships. When the Romans invaded, they faced a patchwork of tribes, not a unified army. The Romans exploited these divisions, using divide and rule to conquer. Some tribes resisted fiercely, others collaborated. This diversity is key to understanding the complex story of the Roman conquest. For too long, Britain's story has been anchored to the Romans, but the truth is far deeper. The thousands of years before Rome were the main act, not a prelude. Innovative, resilient, and sophisticated peoples laid the foundations of our landscape and culture. Their legacy is all around us, in our fields, earthworks, art, and even our DNA. Ignoring this deep history is ignoring the essence of Britain. Our identity grew from this ancient soil, not from conquerors. Rethinking our past changes how we see ourselves. Our ancestors were skilled engineers, traders, and artists. This is a pride rooted in ingenuity and connection, not conquest. The story of ancient Britain is still being written with every new discovery. By unearthing these hidden histories, we reclaim the true deep roots of the nation.